Hello and welcome to an episode of the Bubbs on Sports podcast. Today is Friday, December 30th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Friday, December 30th here today. 2 more days left, today and tomorrow, and then it is 2023. This is the last podcast of 2022. It has been a fun year, and now our focus shifts obviously to 2023, which hopefully a lot of good sports will be going on there in the upcoming year. Hopefully the New York Jets and the New York Giants, specifically obviously the Jets, hopefully we see some playoff football in 2023. So a lot of things coming up here. We got a lot to get into. It is a football Friday. A lot of action this weekend. There was a lot of action as well last night. You had Thursday Night Football. You had Islanders. You had Rangers. Rangers took a tough loss in a shootout over the Lightning. They lost 2-1. The Islanders won 2-1 at home against the Blue Jackets. So tonight you'll get the Knicks, who are back in action. I apologize. Knicks have a day off. So are the Nets. Nets have a day off. I apologize about that. So you'll get a lot of action tonight. You got a lot of action into the weekend. You have 2 massive games for the New York football teams. Jets, Seahawks, Giants, Colts. As we know, Jets need to win out. New England needs to lose one of their next 2. And all the Giants need to do is win one more game. They win on Sunday against the Colts, and they're in. No matter what else happens, they win and they're in. They control their own destiny, and that's the bottom line for the New York Giants. Just get a win, and they will find themselves in a playoff spot here in the coming weeks, and that should be interesting if that does happen. So a lot to get into today on the Football Friday podcast. You know the drill. We'll get you my game picks, go through all the games, get you the game picks, get you the Jets, get you the Giants preview as well. We'll also get into fantasy football, give you a little bit of advice for the weekend. I know championship rounds are starting. It's also championship rounds are starting, which is big. And also tank rounds, tank bowls, you know, the last place teams are battling it out, which I'm actually in one of those games this weekend. So a lot of fantasy football this weekend where you got your championship games and then you got your games that's the battle for last place, which you obviously want to win as well because you don't want to be in last place in whatever league you're in. You don't want to finish in 12th out of 12 or 8 out of 8, whatever size league you're in. Big weekend here, big next 2 weekends here in fantasy football, so we'll get you ready for that. And obviously later on, we'll get you ready for the Nets, Knicks, and all that good stuff this weekend. Get you my game picks for the college football semifinals tomorrow. Super fired up. Massive weekend to close out the year. Big weekend in the NFL. Jets, Giants, meaningful games in January. Let's roll. Big weekend ahead. As always, this is the Bubbs on Sports podcast. And let's get right into it. So last night, Week 17 of the NFL season got kicked off with the Cowboys and the Titans. Cowboys got the win 27-13. I was 3 points off. I predicted Cowboys 27-10. Obviously, the Titans put up 13. I'll tell you what, despite the win, the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, I'll first off say this. Josh Jacobs played solid. Threw for 232 yards, had a touchdown. He did have a pick. But for being thrust into it, 2 days before the game, we hear yesterday that he's going to play. We all thought it was going to be Malik Willis, obviously with Tannehill most likely being done for the year. We all thought it was going to be Malik Willis. And sure enough, here comes Josh Dobbs. You get the news that he's starting on Thursday night. And I thought he did a fine job. I mean, sure, again, 20-39, 232 yards. He had a touchdown. It wasn't, an all-pro performance. But, it was solid for just being thrust into a situation against a really good Cowboys defense. So I thought he did a better job than Malik Willis would have done. The Titans made this a game. They really did. I mean, this was a close game. I believe it was like 17-13. Yeah. They had the touchdown. He threw a touchdown to Robert Woods. Dobbs did. It was like a quick 4 or 5 yard touchdown in the red zone. And then it was 17-13, and after that, it was all Cowboys. Cowboys then, started to, do a lot better, did much better, kind of put their foot on the gas and made it a game. 17-13, they put up 10 unanswered and won by 2 scores. So Titans most likely are done. I believe if Jacksonville, I don't know, the Titans might be done. I'm not 100% sure because I think if Jacksonville, I guess, wins today, I don't know. I'd have to look at all the scenarios, but Titans' chances now 6 straight losses. Their chances at the postseason are extremely slim. But I'll tell you this, despite the win by the Cowboys, Dak's got a turnover problem. He does. 2 interceptions yesterday. I saw a stat last night watching the game. You watch the game and you see all the reactions all over the sports apps and stuff. And I saw a stat. I was like, Dak in his last 14 quarters had 7 interceptions. And I think he might even have one more because I think that might have been posted after his first interception. I'm not sure. But he's had a serious turnover problem. He does. He's got to clean that up. And I like Dak a lot, but he's got to clean it up before the postseason because you can't, again, it's one thing to turn over the ball like they did against Tennessee, like they did against Houston, and still get away with it and still win. But when you play against teams, they got to go to Philly, and if they have to beat the Eagles or they have to play the Vikings, they're not going to be able to, and I know they beat the Vikings by a ton, but if you turn the ball over like that in the postseason, you're not going to win games. You're not going to win games that way. And I've said that about the Jets too. Same thing with the Jets, the little things, not converting in the red zone. Those little things are going to come back to bite you. Same thing here with the Cowboys. These turnovers, Dak Prescott making dumb decisions. You might get away with it against the Texans and the Titans, but you're not going to get away with it against some of the elite teams in the NFL. So they got to watch out. Dak's got to clean those up. But they did get the win, so they get to 12-4 on the season, and now they need Philly to lose their next 2, and all Dallas needs to do is win 1 more. And Dallas is the NFC champion. I don't see Philly losing their next 2. They got the Saints this weekend, and they got the Giants. I don't think they're going to lose both those games. I would probably assume they probably win this weekend against the Saints, who can't score, and they probably lock up the NFC East. That would be my prediction. Foreshadowing to what I'm going to predict in the Eagles-Saints game this weekend. But anyway, a lot to get into here. Thursday Night Football, okay game. I guess it was kind of typical for Thursday night. It was interesting, but late in the game, Cowboys kind of broke away there and got the win. By the way, last night, got the pick correct. So 1-0 to start the week going into Sunday, and I am now 150-91 overall in the season. So if I get 10 picks correct on Sunday and Monday, I will be at 160 going into Week 17. So I have an opportunity here to really stack up some wins with my game picks. 150-91 is my record right now as we go into the games this weekend. All right, so let's start things off. Big weekend. Let's get going here. First game up, we got the Lions and the Bears. Lions 7-8, Bears 3-2. Lions 6-point favorites. The over/under set at 52.5 for this game. This game goes on at 1 Eastern on Fox. Bears are sliding. Obviously, they've been in some of their games, but they're sliding. They were on an 8-game losing streak. I don't think they have a win in the division yet. They're collapsing. They're struggling. I think we all kind of expected this out of the Bears. Justin Fields has had a lot of exciting moments this season. But let's be honest here. The Bears are just not there yet to go on the road in Detroit. Detroit's been very good at home this season. I think they're going to come out with a lot of energy after last week's tough loss to Carolina on the road where they got dominated in the run game. Both Carolina's running backs rushed for over 100 yards. I believe it was Dante Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, both over 100. They got destroyed. So I think Detroit playing for their playoff lives. They still have a chance. They got to win these. They got to win this game. I'm going to take the Lions here. I think they're going to come out. They're going to come out fired up. They're going to come out angry after what happened last week. They've been very good this season at home. You just get a fired up playing for something with the Detroit Lions, and you get an 8-game losing streak, an absolute downward spiral with the Chicago Bears. I'm going to take the Lions here at home. Give me Detroit 27-13. I'll take the last night's score, 27-13. I'll take Detroit here. Actually, 27-17. I could see Fields putting up a little bit more points. So I'll take Detroit 27-17. They'll cover the 6. I'll take the under on the over-under of 52.5. Give me the Lions at home covering the 6 and getting the win. Next up, we got the Chiefs and the Broncos. Chiefs 12-3, Broncos 4-11. Jets fans, we got to root for the Chiefs this weekend. So then the Bills next weekend most likely will have to play their starters against the Patriots, which if we need the Patriots to lose, helps if Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and all those guys in Buffalo are playing. So Chiefs come into this game 12-3, as I mentioned. Broncos fresh off of firing Nathaniel Hackett. They are a train wreck. Chiefs big 12.5-point favorites. Over/under set at 45, 1 Eastern on CBS. What do I have to say about this game? The Broncos are not winning. They're a mess. You hear all these players going on social media and defending Russell Wilson. That's great. I don't think they're going to – I know some people out there think that this Broncos team might rally around Russell Wilson for these final 2 games and win the next 2. No, I don't see that happening. Denver's a mess. They stink. They're not going into Arrowhead and getting a win. I can almost guarantee it. Kansas City still playing for the 1 seed in the AFC. I'm taking the Chiefs here. I'm taking the Chiefs big over Denver. I don't see Denver coming out. They might come out early and maybe go down and score or something and make it close, just to come out with a little bit of energy, kind of want to come out and play well after the coach gets fired. They might do that, but I don't see them coming out and beating the Chiefs on the road in Arrowhead. I just don't see that happening. So give me Kansas City big time, 31-10. I'll take Kansas City second blowout in the row against Denver. I'll take the Chiefs, 31-10. I'll take the under on the over-under 45. Chiefs cover the 12.5. I know the Chiefs and the Broncos had a close game a couple weeks prior, but you can't sit. I just can't sit here and tell you with a straight face Denver's going to make it a game on the road in Kansas City. Prove me wrong. Make it a game. Go into overtime. Have Kansas City require a game-winning 50-yard field goal. But I just don't see that happening. Denver's a mess. Kansas City's rolling. Give me the Chiefs at home. Next up, we got the Commanders and the Browns. Commanders 7-1. Browns are 6-9. Commanders 2.5-point favorites. Over/under set at 40.5. 1 Eastern on Fox. I talked about it yesterday. I don't like the decision to start Carson Wentz. I'm very anti that. I talked about it yesterday. If you're interested in checking that out, the podcast, I talked about Derek Carr and Wentz yesterday, so you can check that out if you're interested. If Taylor Heineke was playing this game, I'd be all aboard on Washington. Look, Washington's got to win these games. They are in a situation where if Green Bay wins out, Washington loses one of its next two. Green Bay's in, Washington's out, and that's where we currently stand in the NFC playoff picture. So, as much as I don't believe in the Browns, as much as Browns on the road, Deshaun Watson has shown me nothing. I just don't trust Carson Wentz. Let's tell it like it is. Washington was playing like one of the worst offenses in the NFL when Carson Wentz was out there. That's just the bottom line. And this isn't anything against Carson Wentz. This is just me telling you the facts. They were not good. They looked like a complete dumpster fire. They were 1-4, 2-4 with him out there. They barely beat Chicago. That game on Thursday Night Football when Chicago couldn't score prior to them making the adjustments with Justin Fields. Washington was a mess on offense. I'm going to take Cleveland here. Call me crazy. I'm going to take the Browns against Wentz. Good defense. Browns. Chubb gets going a little bit. Watson doesn't do a ton, but they do enough to take down Washington, which is not nearly the same offense with Carson Wentz. I'm going to take the Browns on the road. Road underdogs. Give me Cleveland. Low scoring. 17-13. Browns win. I'll take the under on the over-under 40.5. Browns plus 2.5. Get the win on the road at FedEx Field against the Commanders. I'll take the Browns. Next up, 1 Eastern on Fox, you got the Falcons and the Cardinals. Falcons 5-10, Cardinals 4-11. Falcons 3.5-point favorites. Over/under set at 42. This is another interesting game. Desmond Ridder looks like it will be Trace McSorley again. I don't know who to take in this game. This is an interesting game. I already know who to take, obviously, but you have a Falcons team that's out of it. You have a Cardinals team that's out of it. Colt McCoy, I apologize, will actually be back. Trace McSorley played last week. Colt McCoy, Desmond Ridder, who you taking? This is an interesting game, obviously, here between two teams that are eliminated. As much as I feel like, again, Atlanta at home, the Cardinals are a mess. I'm going to take Arizona. Again, Atlanta, Desmond Ridder, neither of these teams are any good. This game is not a game. This is not a game. This is not a game to watch, I should say. I'm going to take Arizona, though. Look, Trace McSorley, third-string quarterback. I understand Tampa's had its struggles. I get all that, and I'm not high on Tampa. But I do still, they took the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football to overtime. Trace McSorley did. So they were at least competent. Colt McCoy is a competent backup. I would take Colt McCoy over Desmond Ridder. I would. Desmond Ridder is young, rookie, still learning. Again, you have to realize, too, the Cardinals still got DeAndre Hopkins. They've still got some pieces. They're without their quarterback. They've got a lot of issues. Who knows how long Cliff Kingsbury's the coach. These might be his final two games. But I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I'm going to take Colt McCoy on the road. Falcons are not any good. Give me Arizona. I just like Colt McCoy a little bit a little bit more than I do Desmond Ridder. So give me the Cardinals on the road over the Falcons. I'll take the Cardinals 20-13. Cardinals win. Cardinals plus 3.5. Under on the over-under 42. I will take Arizona on the road. We'll get to Colts and the Giants here in a little bit. Next up, another game. Battle of a backup versus a starter. Patriots, Dolphins. Patriots 7-8. Dolphins 8-7. Patriots 2.5-point favorites. Over-under set at 41. 1 Eastern on CBS. Look, us Jet fans, we were Green Bay Packers fans last weekend against Miami. This weekend, we got to be big Miami Dolphins fans. The hope is Dolphins win this game, and then at 4 o'clock when the Jets go into Seattle and play the Seahawks, the Jets officially control their own destiny. Again, Patriots got to lose one of their next two. They're at home this weekend in Foxborough against Miami, against Teddy Bridgewater, and then they're on the road in Buffalo against Buffalo, or obviously against the Bills. So they got to lose one of the next two. Ideally, we want it this weekend, so then if the Jets win against Seattle, they ultimately control their own destiny, and the only focus on Sunday is that one win against Miami. Most likely that would be flexed into Sunday Night Football. I don't see New England beating the Bills. I don't see it. But I would rather, just for us Jet fans' own mental, sake, I guess I should say, we would rather, New England lose this game, and if the Jets beat Seattle, then it's just a win and in. We don't have to go into Sunday worrying about the possibility of New England going on the road, Bill Belichick pulling something out of the middle of nowhere and beating Buffalo. So ideally, Miami, cold, Foxborough, goes in there, gets the win. Everybody's crushing Teddy Bridgewater. He's not a bad backup. It's not like you're rolling, somebody really bad out there. It's not like you're rolling Chris Streveler out there who doesn't have an arm. He can run, but he doesn't have an arm, right? Or Joe Flacco, or I'm just thinking of, quarterbacks off the top of my head. But, right, it's not like you're rolling one of those guys out there. Teddy Bridgewater is a competent backup, right? He's competent. So, as much as maybe this is just my biased Jet fandom, I want the Dolphins to win, have the Patriots lose, so the Jets ultimately just control their own destiny, taking over. I'm going to take Miami. Look, the Patriots' offense is a mess, okay? They are not good. The Patriots are not good. Everybody's acting like Teddy Bridgewater's got to go on the road and beat Tom Brady. No, he's got to go on the road and beat Mac Jones. That's not impossible. And let's be honest here. The Tua concussion injury is very scary. Don't get me wrong. But he threw 3 interceptions last weekend. He was the main reason why they lost. So if Teddy Bridgewater can limit the turnovers, you can make the argument if they had Bridgewater last weekend, they probably would have beat the Green Bay Packers. So I don't think it's crazy to say that Miami can win this game. I'm going to take Miami on the road. I get it. It's cold. Again, maybe this is my anti-Patriots feelings taking over. Again, we all want to just see New England lose this weekend and have the Jets by 4 o'clock just control their own destiny, win out, and get in. Maybe that's it. But I think the Patriots are not good. They are not good. I don't know how the Jets lost to them twice. They're not good. I'm going to take Teddy Bridgewater, Miami, going on the road and getting the win. Give me Miami 23-17, Dolphins plus 2.5, under on the over-under 41. I will take Miami on the road in Foxborough. Teddy Bridgewater, Jets legend, gets the win on the road against New England. I will take the Dolphins. Next up, Jaguars, Texans. Jaguars 7-8, Texans 2-12. 2-12-1, I should say. Jaguars 4-point favorites. Over under set at 43.5. 1 Eastern on CBS. The betting apps have learned. They have not made Houston a double-digit underdog. Houston's at home here. Look, the Texans have played very hard the past couple weeks. They obviously had that really hard game, really tough physical game against Dallas. They almost beat them there. And they pushed Kansas City all the way to overtime. So, Houston's been in a lot of these games. They also beat Tennessee last weekend. I understand Tennessee right now is on a free fall, but they still went on the road and beat the Titans. For a 2-win team to do that, it's still an accomplishment. So the Texans the last 3 weeks have actually played like one of the better teams in the NFL. They pushed Dallas all the way to the final seconds. They took Kansas City to overtime, and they beat the Titans on the road. So they've done a lot of really good things. The Jaguars, I believe the Jaguars, they can clinch a playoff spot, I believe, with a win this weekend. I believe if they do that, they will clinch with a win this weekend. So it's big this is a big game for Jacksonville. As much as I want to take Houston, as much as I want to, see them get another upset and make it like 4 games in a row where they're just playing like dominant. Jacksonville's hot. They're rolling. They're right in the center of a playoff race. Doug Peterson, well-coached team. We saw it on Thursday night as Jet fans. I just don't see Houston getting the job done here. Okay, I don't. Now, I'm not going to predict the blowout because Houston's kept it close. I do think Houston keeps it close. I'm going to take Jacksonville 24-20, just covering the 4. And I'm going to take Jacksonville, get the win, and they thrust into the playoffs with a win in Houston. Give me the Jaguars, 24-20. I'll take the over on the over-under 43.5. Jaguars, right at the 4 points, 24-20. I'll take Jacksonville on the road. All right, 2 more 1 o'clock games left here. We got Panthers, Buccaneers. Panthers 6-9, Buccaneers 7-8. Bucks 3.5-point favorites. Over/under set at 41 Eastern on Fox. Big game, massive game, huge playoff implications on the line. If the Buccaneers win this game, they have clinched the NFC South. They will be in the playoffs. They will host a playoff game, most likely against the Dallas Cowboys. If Carolina wins this game, then things get interesting. Because then Carolina controls their own destiny because they would have the tiebreaker over the Tampa Bay because they beat them twice. If Carolina wins this game, there's a really good chance Tom Brady misses the playoffs. Really good chance. Because they would get, I believe the Panthers play New Orleans next weekend. They do on the road. So if they beat the Bucks and then they beat the Saints, Panthers are in. Now, if the Panthers beat the Buccaneers and then they lose against the Saints and the Buccaneers win, I believe they play Falcons final week of the season, then the Buccaneers are in. So Panthers got to win their next 2 games. They have to win out. The Panthers really control their own destiny. If they win their next 2, they're in. No matter what Tampa does, they're in. So they got to get a win on the road in Tampa against Tom Brady. Sam Darnold, Tom Brady. Who would have thought at the beginning of the season we'd be talking about the NFC South coming down to a Week 17 matchup between Sam Darnold and Tom Brady, a 7-8 Buccaneers team and a 6-9 Panthers team. I don't think many people saw that coming, but if you did, congrats. You're insane for thinking that. But this is an interesting game because Carolina took care of business at home. Steve Wilkes has got them playing very hard. I will tell you this. If the Panthers can run like they did last week against Detroit, having 2 running backs run over 200 yards combined, I mean, you can beat just about anybody in the NFL doing that. So as much as I think Tampa's going to win this game and as much as I kind of want to take Carolina because I think it would be pretty wild to see Sam Darnold. I think it would be cool to see Sam Darnold. Look, as a Jets fan, I you want to see Sam do well. You're rooting for him. It'd be cool to see him, get a win against, Tom Brady. Who would have thought, at the beginning of Sam Darnold's career, we all would have thought, division matchup, Sam Darnold versus Tom Brady. We would have thought we were talking about Jets Patriots, not Panthers Buccaneers. But here we are, Week 17 of the NFL season here, 2022 going into 2023. This one's tough. This one's really tough because Panthers already beat Bucks, as I mentioned. I'm going to take Carolina on the road here. I am. I'm going to take the Panthers on the road. I don't feel great about it, but I'm going to take them on the road over Tampa. Darnold, run game, gets the job done. And Carolina, all they need is a win against New Orleans to get into the playoffs in the NFC South. Man, oh man, that would be wild. I'm going to take the Panthers. I don't feel great about this pick, by the way. Deep, my gut tells me Bucks, but I'm going to take the Panthers anyway because why not? So I'm going to take Carolina here. I'll go Carolina 23-20. 23-20 game-winning field goal wins it for the Panthers. I'll take the over on the over-under 40. Panthers plus 3.5 on the road over the Bucks. Final 1 o'clock game here before we get to the 3-4 o'clock games. Eagles, Saints. Eagles 13-2. Saints 6-9. Eagles 6.5-point favorites. The over-under set at 42. 1 Eastern on Fox. It'll be interesting to see if it's Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew under center on Sunday for Philadelphia. Either way, I think the Eagles win this game. I know there's some people out there that think Jalen Hurts should still play just to get that win, get it under, get the win, clinch the NFC East, so then you can have those couple weeks of rest. Obviously, they would have the first round bye because they'd have to clinch the 1 seed and all that good stuff. Look, I'm going to take Philly here. No matter who plays quarterback, if it's Gardner Minshew, if it's Jalen Hurts, the Saints have a really tough time scoring. They're not any good. They're really struggling. They're probably on their way to a double-digit loss season on the road in Philly. I think this is going to be a blowout, to be honest with you. I'm surprised the line is where it is. It's 6.5, which is pretty big. If Jalen Hurts was for sure playing, I think it would probably be 10. If Gardner Minshew can just keep the turnovers down, he almost beat Dallas last week with some turnovers, right? So if he can keep those turnovers, if he can keep those down, and they could just run the ball. Gardner Minshew played like he did last week, and all those good things. You feel good about where you're at with Dallas, or with Philly, I should say. So keep the turnovers down. If they score 24 points in this game, they're probably going to win because the Saints just have a really tough time scoring. They don't have much going on offense. I'm going to take Philly at home. Give me the Eagles. I would say the Saints would have a chance against Minshew. Minshew's good, though. He's a solid borderline starter in the NFL. He's a very good backup borderline starter. So I think Minshew, no matter what, Eagles win the quarterback battle here, right? They do over Andy Dalton. So that's how I see it. So I'm going to take the Eagles at home. Give me the Eagles 27-14. Eagles win. I'll take the over on the over-under 42. Eagles get the win and cover the 6.5. All right, finally, 4 o'clock games here. 49ers, Raiders. Raiders 11-4. Flip that. Niners 11-4. Raiders 6-9. Niners 9.5-point favorites. Over-under set at 42. 4:05 p.m. Eastern on Fox. This is going to be a blowout. Look, Niners, Brock Purdy playing at a very high level on offense. There's a possibility they get Deebo Samuel back, which would be a massive boost to this offense that's already insane. Add Deebo Samuel back into the mix. They're even better. I think the Niners are the favorite in the NFC to win the Super Bowl, in my opinion. I like the Eagles a lot, don't get me wrong, but I think the Niners are up there. Their defense is unbelievable. Brock Purdy's, right now the Niners are a buzzsaw. That's really what it is. Nobody wants to play the Niners. Nobody right now. And that's the bottom line. With their defense and with the way Brock Purdy's playing, we could all joke around about him being Mr. Irrelevant. He's playing like one of the better quarterbacks in football the past couple weeks. That's the bottom line. So he's playing at a high level. The Raiders have Jared Stidham starting. Josh McDaniels has lost the locker room. They're not going to be able to move the ball at all. Young quarterback, great defense. Give me the Niners by a lot. Niners, 31-7. I'll take the Niners with a blowout win over the Raiders. Under on the over-under 42. Niners cover this 9.5. Give me the 49ers on the road, big time, over a Raiders team that is a mess. Give me the Niners. Rams, Chargers. Rams 5-10. Chargers 9-6. Chargers 6.5-point favorites. The over/under set at 42.5. 4:25 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Look, Baker Mayfield, the Rams coming fresh off a blowout win against Denver at home on Christmas Day. The Chargers coming off of a big win, dominant defensive performance against the Colts on Monday Night Football. Because that Cardinals game, actually, the Cardinals-Bucks game was on Sunday night. So the Chargers coming off a dominant win against the Colts on Monday Night Football. It'll be interesting to see how both teams come out here. Battle of L.A., Battle of SoFi Stadium, Chargers, Rams. Look, as much as the Baker Mayfield story has been fun, he's been playing well. The Rams team's been playing with a lot more energy with him. Obviously he's a lot better of an option over John Wolford, with Stafford being out for the rest of the year. As much as it's been a good story, look, the Chargers are, I think, hitting their stride. They're starting to play some really good football. Their defense, their offense is all coming together. Herbert's playing well. They're starting to hit their stride. The Chargers are just better. They're healthier. They're more talented. That's the bottom line. I'm going to take the Chargers here at home, although both teams are at home. I'm going to take Chargers, Justin Herbert over Baker Mayfield, 28-17. Chargers get the win. They cover the 6.5. I'll take the over on the over-under 42.5. Chargers win and cover. All right, and finally, Big game here to close out the 4 o'clock games here. Big game between the Vikings and the Packers. Packers 7-8, Vikings 12-3. Packers 3.5-point favorites. Over/under set at 48 for this game. A massive game. 4:25 p.m. Eastern on CBS. If the Packers win this game and they beat the Lions next week, which they'll be home for both of these games, which is huge because now if they get to the playoffs, they won't be home. They'll have to go on the road for the entirety of the playoffs. But, well, most likely they'd be the 7th seed. But to have the final 2 games of the season in Lambeau, playoffs on the line, not easy to play. Go to Lambeau with the playoffs on the line and beat the Packers. It's not easy. So if the Packers win out and Washington loses one of its next 2, as I mentioned, Browns coming up and in the Cowboys' final week of the season, then the Packers will be in, the Washington will be out. And I like the chances of Washington losing one of its next 2. It's just a matter of can the Packers beat a good Vikings team, and can they beat a Lions team that's also probably going to be fighting for a playoff spot, final week of the season or playing for something. So it'll be interesting. Look, Vikings obviously 12-3. They've been a very, very odd 12-3 team. Obviously Vikings beat the Packers week 1 of the season, week 1 of the NFL season, obviously this year, 23-7. So they haven't it's been a while since they've played each other. 2 different teams. Packers are hot right now. Look, if this game was in Minnesota, I would probably take the Vikings. But Lambeau, January, cold. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be like 36, which isn't, I guess, the coldest ever. I mean, it's a 4 o'clock game. I guess it'd be even colder if it was 8 o'clock. But Lambeau, cold, January, playoffs on the line. I'm not going to go against Aaron Rodgers here. I'm going to take Rodgers over the Vikings. As much as I like the talent, Kirk Cousins, this Vikings team's very good. They fight a ton. They compete. I mean, they are in every game. Every game's close, and they find ways to win. I'm going to take Green Bay here. A lot on the line for them. I could just see them coming out with a lot more energy than Minnesota, in my opinion. Look, Minnesota's already got the division locked up. Now, they're still obviously playing for seeding and stuff. But I don't know. Green Bay, I just have a feeling they're going to run the table here. Take the Packers at home. 24-17. Packers win. Late touchdown by Christian Watson. Gets the job done. I'll take the under on the over-under 48. Give me the Packers covering the 3.5. They get the win at home over the Vikings. And the final game on Sunday here, Sunday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. Eastern, NBC. This game actually got flexed. Ravens, Steelers, Ravens 10-5, Steelers 7-8, Ravens 2.5-point favorites, over/under set at 35 for this game. Steelers still have not a great, but they have a slim chance at the playoffs, and they obviously have to win their games and they need a whole lot of help if they obviously want to get in. So it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out here. Baltimore at home. Again, I mean, as much as the Steelers are playing good. Look, Lamar Jackson, it's possible he comes back in this game. He's questionable. We'll see if he plays. Most likely not, which would lead it to what Tyler Huntley would go in there in this game, most likely. So it'll most likely be Tyler Huntley versus, because Jackson was a non-participant on Thursday. So most likely going to be Tyler Huntley versus Kenny Pickett at home, or Ravens are going to be at home. Sunday Night Football, Baltimore at home. Again, as much as Pittsburgh, their defense, TJ Watt, they seem to be turning a little bit of a corner here in terms of progress. Baltimore is still playing for a lot in terms of the division. I'm going to take the Ravens here at home. I'm going to take Tyler Huntley and the Ravens. Low-scoring game. 20-13. Ravens get the win. Under on the over-under 35. Ravens win and cover the 2.5. That's my Sunday night game pick. I'll take Baltimore. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be very interesting. But I'll take the Ravens. So those are my game picks. Now we move to the two locals, Giants and the Jets. We'll start with the Giants. Since they start first. So we'll start with the Giants. Giants, Colts. Giants 8-6-1. Colts 4-10-1. Giants 5.5-point favorites here at home. Over/under set at 39. 1 Eastern on CBS. Look, I don't think I have to go into much detail into this game. I mean, it's a win and in. 95% of people think the Giants will win this game. So a lot of people are going for the Giants here. Look, the Colts are a mess. Outside of that win against the Raiders, they've lost, 5 straight. Jeff Saturday, they've gone outscored a ton in the fourth quarter. Their time management's been terrible. The locker room has completely lost all faith in Jeff Saturday. The Colts need to go into the offseason, completely blow it up, bring in a young quarterback, and start over. That's where they're at. That's where they need to go. And it'll be interesting to see how they attack that in the offseason. But for right now, they have no chance. I mean, Nick Foles, whoever's going out there to play, I know some people think, Nick Foles might make some adjustments. No, I don't see that happening. Colts are a mess. Giants playing for a lot, win, and they're in. They control their own destiny. Now, if they lose the game, they need a lot. Other things can happen and they can still get in, but they control their own destiny. If they win, no matter what else happens, they're in. So they're at home. MetLife, I think, is going to be roaring. First time in a long time. First time since McAdoo's first season, the Giants are playing for legit playoffs. I mean, I guess you could say Joe Judge's first year, but let's be honest, they were 6-10. They didn't deserve to get into the postseason anyway. But it's been a while since the Giants legitimately have hope, have a legit playoff opportunity where they control their own destiny. It's been a long time. So they're at home. I'm going to take the Giants here. I think they're going to come out of last week's game, too, a little frustrated. They almost had that game. A couple mistakes hurt them. Give me the Giants at home. Colts are lousy. Giants win by a lot. Giants 24-10. They'll get the win. Under on the over-under 39. Giants win and cover the 5.5. Giants secure a playoff spot in the NFC. And now we move on to the Jets. Jets, Seahawks. You know the drill. Tomorrow, obviously, on Saturday, I'll have my In the Trench with Gang Green podcast up. So I'll be previewing the game tomorrow with my keys and all that good stuff tomorrow on the podcast. So look out for that. But for right now, just a quick game pick here, quick kind of overview of the game. Jets 7-8, Seahawks 7-8. Jets 2-point favorites on the road. This line jumped to the Jets being a road favorite once Mike White got announced the starter on Monday. So a lot of pressure on Mike White, a lot of pressure on this Jets roster as a whole, a lot of pressure on Robert Saleh. And I'll tell you why here in a second. Let's just finish things out here. So 4:05 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Over-under for this game set at 42.5. Look, this is it. This is it for the New York Jets. They've been giving a second chance. We all thought, a week ago today, we all thought it was over after the Thursday night debacle at home against Jacksonville. We all thought the season was over. They've been given a second chance to make the postseason. With the Bengals beating the Patriots, a lot of other things happening. Obviously, Green Bay over Miami, and all those different things happening. Even Houston over Tennessee helped. All those different things. This is a second opportunity for the New York Jets. I'll say it again. They got to win out. They got to win against Seattle. They got to win against Miami. And they need New England to either lose this weekend to Miami or lose next weekend against Buffalo. It doesn't matter as long as they lose one of the next two, preferably. As I mentioned, it'd be this weekend. It would make our lives a lot easier so we can ultimately just focus on the Jets ultimately just controlling their own destiny and not having the possibility of New England pulling off an upset in Week 18. But we'll see how that all plays out. There's a lot of pressure. Mike White, this is his opportunity. 2 games left. These final 2 games can make him a lot of money. It could also have him miss out on a lot of money. The locker room believes in him. Jets fans believe in him. We've rallied around him. He's the best quarterback on the roster. He has an opportunity here to solidify in a way that he can be back next year with the Jets. If he wins these next 2 games and plays at a high level and they go to the playoffs and maybe he wins a playoff game, I don't want to look too far ahead, but Mike White can do a lot. And I think he's going to come out. I think he's going to come out and realize what's at stake. He's going to give it all he's got. He's going to fight through whatever pain he's playing through because he realizes what's at stake not only on a personal level, but on a team level, obviously with his contract and with the Jets needing these 2 games in order to get into the postseason as a 9-8 team and get into the big dance, which is obviously once you're in, anything can happen. We've seen craziness happen before. Last year, nobody saw the Bengals going all the way. They did. So anything can happen. Win this game. Beat Miami. You're in. The Jets, Mike White's obviously, you got to play smart. No turnovers. You got to get the run game going. I would like to see them utilize Strevler a little bit in some different packages, some Wildcat packages. I think that would definitely be a big key for this Jet team. I want to see him active. And as I mentioned, run game's got to get going. Defense, got to play well. Couple matchups to watch. Sauce Gardner, DK, look out for that. A little Garrett Wilson, Tariq Woolen, battle of some Rookie of the Year candidates, both on the defense and offensive side of the football, with Tariq Woolen, Sauce Gardner, and Garrett Wilson all being involved. Kenneth Walker as well. I'm not sure if Tyler Lockett's going to play in this game. I think he's questionable. We'll see. He might not. A big game, massive game. You got to get the job done. So here's my game pick. Call me biased. I'm going to take the Jets here. Okay, I'm all aboard the Mike White train. The bottom line is he gives us a better chance to win. He does. He gives us a better chance to win. He is the best quarterback on the roster. He has shown a lot of positives of what he's been able to do just in the 8 games he's played in his career. The locker room rallies around him. They play hard for him. And Seattle, it's a tough environment. Don't get me wrong, but they're slumping too. They're slumping too. Now, it is a big game for them. They got to win these games. They got to get some big wins, and they need a lot of help as well to get in. But for the Jets, you control your own destiny. Let's go. Get in, win these games, and get into the postseason. So a massive game on Sunday for the New York Jets. Beat Seattle, move on to Miami. I'm going to take the Jets. I'm going to take Mike White. Give me Mike White and the New York Jets. I'll take them 27-21. 24. I'll take the Jets 24-20 on the road. Over on the over-under 42.5. Jets get the win, cover the 2. Jets get their 8th win of the year, and next week in Miami gets flexed to Sunday Night Football, win and you're in situation. Let's go Jets. By the way, according to Bleach Report on the money line, 54% of people think the Jets will win this game. So, decent amount of people are on the Mike White train here as we get closer and closer here to the weekend. All right, so let me just go through my game picks again. Obviously, got the Jets winning, Lions winning, Chiefs winning, Browns winning, Cardinals winning, Giants winning, Dolphins winning, Jaguars winning, Panthers winning, Eagles winning, Niners winning, Chargers winning, Packers winning, and the Ravens winning. And I'll get you my Bills-Bengals game pick on Monday. That will be a massive game in the AFC in Cincinnati for seeding there between the Bills and the Bengals, which will wrap up Week 17. So I'll get you that on Monday. All right, so let's go through some other things here before we close out the podcast, or before we get to fantasy and then close out the podcast. All right, so we'll go to some NBA games tonight. So NHL, you got 4 games on tonight. None of the locals. You do have Devils, Penguins. Other than that, you got Ducks, Predators, Hurricanes, Panthers, and the Oilers, Kraken. And as for the NBA, none of the locals either tonight, but you do have a packed Friday night. Knicks, Nets both have a day off, though. They'll both be back in action tomorrow. Nets will be playing up against the Hornets, and the Knicks will be on the road in Houston against the Rockets. You got Magic, Wizards, Hawks, Lakers, Suns, Raptors, Pistons, Bulls, Timberwolves, Bucks, 76ers, Pelicans, Heat, Nuggets, Jazz, Kings, and Trailblazers, Warriors are your NBA games on tonight. Also, as I mentioned, Kentucky, Louisville tomorrow, 12 Eastern, CBS. A big game for Kentucky. Look to bounce back. Louisville's 2-11. They're having a really bad year. Kentucky's got to bounce back after a very embarrassing performance, obviously on Wednesday against Missouri. 0-1 in the conference play now. They got a get-right game against Louisville. And then Tuesday, you bring in a very good LSU team to Rupp Arena. So, big weekend here, big next couple days here for Kentucky, especially with the conference home game on Tuesday. So look out for that. And then obviously the big games this weekend are the New Year's Six Bowl and all that good stuff. So tonight you got the Orange Bowl, Clemson, Tennessee, 8 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. You've also got the Sugar Bowl tomorrow, Kansas State, Alabama. I take Bama. I also take Clemson. I think I took Clemson over Tennessee. I'm in a bowl mania. And then your 2 biggest games are obviously coming up this weekend tomorrow. So your first game is on tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, the Fiesta Bowl, Michigan TCU, Michigan, the number 2 seed, TCU, the 3 seed, Michigan 13-0, TCU 12-1, Michigan 7.5-point favorites. The over/under set at 58.5. I took Michigan in this game. Love their run game. McCarthy, quarterback, been playing very good. Max Duggan, don't get me wrong, playing at a high level as well, was a Heisman candidate. I like Michigan in this game, though. I think they're just a little bit of the better team. TCU concern. I like Kansas State's a good team, but TCU concerned me a little bit against Kansas State. I like Michigan. I'm going to take the Wolverines. Fiesta Bowl, Michigan gets into the college football final. I'll take Michigan here. 35-31, I'll take Michigan. They don't cover the 7.5, but I'll take Michigan. 35-31. I think it's relatively close. They don't cover the 4.5, the 7.5, but I'll take Michigan 35-31 over on the over/under of 58.5. Give me Michigan to get into the college football final. And the second semifinal game, the Peach Bowl, Georgia, Ohio State. Georgia, obviously the 1 seed. Ohio State, the 4 seed. Seemed like they were dead. They've found new life. When the committee put them in, obviously after they lost to Michigan, it seemed like all hope was lost, but some things went their way during the weekend and or during the big weekend between all the rivals and stuff, which helped them out. Georgia, Ohio State. Georgia 13-0, Ohio State 11-1. Georgia 6.5-point favorites, over/under set at 62.5 for this game. 8 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Second of the 2 college football semifinal games. Look, as much as C.J. Stroud, Ohio State, high-powered offense, you like them. Ryan Day, Ohio State, you definitely feel like they have a chance. Stetson Bennett, Kirby Smart. I mean, this Georgia team is just loaded with talent. They're the best team in the country, in my opinion. I'm rooting for Michigan. I want to see them. I want to see Michigan win it all, but I think Georgia has a really good chance. I'm going to take Georgia, and to be honest, I don't think it's very close. Okay, I think Michigan's TCU is close because TCU fights a lot. Max Duggan, he did not. They're going to fight. They're going to be in every game. They're not going to get blown out a ton. They're going to be in games. Ohio State getting blown out against Michigan. As much as, yes, there's new life, maybe they come out with a lot of energy, I just don't see them coming out and just, I think Georgia's going to dominate them. I don't think this game's very close. I really don't. You got to bank on the Fiesta Bowl being a close game, because I don't think this game's going to be very close. They're also Peach Bowl. It's in Atlanta. I mean, as people put it, it's right in Georgia's backyard. I mean, there's going to be a ton of Georgia fans there. I just don't like the chance. I just don't like. I don't like Ohio State after they got embarrassed against Michigan in their own building in the shoe. Give me Georgia by a lot. I'm gonna take Georgia here, 31-17. 31-17. Georgia wins big time. I'll take the under on the over/under of 62.5. 31-17. I mean, that might be too low scoring. You know what? 35-24. I'll say 35-24. I'll take the under on the over/under 62.5 still. But I'll take Georgia covering the 6.5. Georgia gets the win, and they move on. Michigan, Georgia, my prediction for the college football final. So, looking forward to it. You also got the Rose Bowl on Monday, Citrus Bowl as well on Monday. So, a lot of other good games to look out for this upcoming weekend as well. But the 2 big ones, TCU, Michigan, Fiesta Bowl, Georgia, Ohio State, Peach Bowl. So it should be fun. Big, big weekend in college football. Always a big weekend here, New Year's Eve into New Year's Day and all that good stuff. All right, so now time for fantasy football. So right now, I played Dak Prescott last night. It was okay. I mean, he got me, 18 points. So right now, in one of my leagues, I'm winning 28-0. In the other league, I'm currently winning 18-0 because I only played Dak. One of my leagues, I'm winning 9-0. And then the other league, I'm also winning 9-0 because Dallas defense got me 9, which I was pretty happy about. I thought, 9 points was pretty solid. They projected like 8 to get 9. It was pretty good. So, obviously, big weekend here in fantasy football. Deebo Samuel's questionable. Knee, ankle practice limited on Thursday. Look, if Deebo Samuel's good to go, you got to put him in the lineup. We saw an increase in production once Brock Purdy took over. He had those couple weeks where he was struggling, and then boom, 12 points, 14 points, got back in the role. They utilize him a lot. If he's going, you got to put him in. I know a lot of people might have to be forced into playing Thielen this week with some of the injuries to, guys like Tony Pollard and at the flex spot. I personally like this week David Montgomery at flex. I do, as much as Detroit coming off a loss is going to be very frustrated. I definitely think they will, and I definitely think they're going to win. Look at Detroit's defense last week. They got destroyed against Carolina. I like David Montgomery a lot this week to get a lot of yards. So Tony Pollard out. If you got Montgomery, slide him in. If you're looking at a Thielen, David Montgomery situation, I like David Montgomery a lot more. To be honest, David Montgomery, I think, is one of the bigger flex plays of the weekend after seeing what the Detroit defense did last week against Carolina. I like David Montgomery here against Detroit a lot. Another name to keep an eye on is J.K. Dobbins, who since returning had 2 big weeks. Last week did not do much against Atlanta. But a guy, again, yes, Pittsburgh's defense is good, but they're going to rely a lot. Tyler Huntley, his stock goes up with a lot more run plays. So look out for him. Look out. 2 big weeks since returning. Watch out for him. Definitely an option there at flex as well. I'm not fully prone to playing Devin Singletary. I do like Bam Knight this weekend. I hope they can get the run game going. I think you're going to see the run game get going a lot more with Mike White because they've been stacking the box a lot, like putting 9 in the box a lot. And the reason that has been because they're not scared of Zach Wilson. If Mike White can, get some, 15, 20-yard pass across the middle, it will force those linebackers and safeties to move back a little bit, creating more running room for the running back. So I do like Bam Knight. I like this offense for the Jets to just have a bigger week with Mike White. Everything flows more with him. Seems like the offensive line plays better with him as well. So I like Bam Knight this week, definitely as a play, projected 11.6. Some people wondering, again, Cortland Sutton's another guy. He's questionable. You could plug him into flex. As much as the Broncos have struggled this year, Cortland Sutton's had a pretty solid season for fantasy football terms. He had 11 points last week. He's a guy that he's consistently 10, 11, 12 points. He's not going to go out there, just because the Broncos offense has its limitations with Russ playing like he's been playing. He's not going to go out there and put up 30, but he'll get you 10, 11, 12 points. I would take Cortland Sutton over a guy like Adam Thielen this week, just a lot more consistency at that flex spot. I'm also like Giants defense this week against Indy. And another defense to keep an eye out for is Dolphins against Miami is interesting. Or Dolphins against Miami, jeez. Dolphins against New England. Also, keep an eye out for Philly against New Orleans. The Saints have not scored much at all this year. If you need a stream of defense, those are a couple defenses you could look at there. As possible options. Giants defense, I'm definitely a big fan of. I know some people are a little worried of playing, Washington's receivers this weekend. I understand that. The one thing I could say, though, is in terms of fantasy, looking at a guy like Terry McLaurin to start the year, his numbers really weren't terrible. I mean, to start the year with Wentz, he had 15, 11, 16, 3, 12, 8. So he still was putting up solid numbers. 4 of the 6 weeks with Wentz, he put up double digits. One of the weeks he put up 8. The one he had a dud with 3. So I'm not anti-Terry McLaurin this week. I'm not. Would I start, maybe, Antonio Gibson's probably not a bad player, one of those guys like that. But I'm not like I'm not anti-start. Gibson's questionable actually. He didn't practice on Thursday. But if he's there, I think they're gonna use the run game a little bit more. Especially with, Bijan Robinson and guys like that. But I wouldn't completely shy away from, utilizing, I apologize. Got to get my thing up here. I wouldn't shy away from utilizing Terry McLaurin at all. Washington's players. As much as I crush Washington, Terry McLaurin's actually put up some good numbers for for having Wentz at his quarterback. So I'm not totally anti. I'm not totally anti. I'm not. Brian Robinson is also a possible player as well. Can't speak right now. Looking for Brian Robinson. He's good to go. He's healthy. That's who I was looking for. I said Bijan Robinson. That's not correct. Brian Robinson. I believe Bijan Robinson is the Texas running back. But, again, I'm not totally anti. Now, would I go out of my way and start like Curtis Samuel? I don't know about that. I don't know if he would really fit a flex role. But Terry McLaurin was still putting up some numbers with Wentz because he'll get a lot of catches. He'll get about 5-6 catches for 40-50 yards. Boom, you got 11 points. So look out for that. But his numbers have been huge the past couple weeks. 24, 13, 7. He had a couple 20s in there. His numbers took a massive increase with Heineke. They were okay with Wentz. So, he's not terrible with Wentz. It's not like he falls off the face of the earth, but he is better with Heineke. So it'll be interesting. He's definitely a player as well. So a lot of good fantasy options this week. Kirk Cousins, again, even though I picked the Packers, again, not anti-Kirk Cousins against Green Bay. I'm not. If you want to play Brock Purdy against a bad Raiders defense, go ahead, do it. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities because I think the Niners are going to dominate the ball. I think they're going to dominate time of possession because I could see the Raiders having a lot of turnovers and the Niners just forcing Jarrett Stidham to make some dumb mistakes, which dumb decisions will turn into dumb mistakes from a quarterback. So it'll be interesting. Big weekend, fantasy football. If you got any fantasy football questions, you can drop them in the comments down below, and I will do my best to answer them and get you ready for a massive, massive week. Not only in the NFL, but fantasy football with championship round starting this weekend. Unfortunately, I am not in any championships this weekend. I am currently in all constellation brackets except one. I'm in the winners constellation, so I guess I'm playing for like 4th or 5th place. When I'm not in the I still do my lineup and stuff, but when I'm not in the playoffs, I usually don't focus on what I'm playing for. I usually just set my lineup, see if I'm winning, and that's it. I don't usually look at because you're out of it. What's the point? Now, one league, I've had an awful year. I'm playing for last place. So if I win, I get 11th place. If I lose, I get last. So the goal is to get 11th. Don't want to finish last. Get 11th, and I'm in. Or get 11th, and I'm on my way to or get 11th, and I don't finish last. The person I beat will finish last. That's all that matters. Don't finish last. Get in, and that's all that matters this weekend. So it'll be interesting. Big weekend of football. Enjoy it. Have a happy and healthy New Year. Obviously, New Year's Day will be Sunday. New Year's Eve tomorrow. So enjoy it. Whatever you're doing with family and friends, have a lot of fun. Enjoy all the sports. You got a lot of sports on tomorrow. NBA, NHL, college football, NFL. Massive sports weekend. Meaningful games for the Jets and the Giants. Huge playoff implications on the line for both. Giants hosting the Colts. Jets on the road in Seattle. So a lot of big games. Stay tuned. I will have my Jets podcast up tomorrow within the Trench with Gang Green. So stay tuned for that. Have my preview. And let's go Jets. Get the job done. Beat Seattle. And then have Miami. First of all, Miami beat New England. Jets beat Seattle at 4 o'clock. And then have Miami versus the Jets. Sunday Night Football. Win and you're in. And let's run the table. Got to take care of business. Let's go. Mike White, Jets. Let's get the job done. Have a happy new year. I will see you all back here in 2023. Back here on the flip side, back on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy your new year. See you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.